In Kazakhstan, the craft developed over the centuries, leaving a legacy of unique products of artisans, amazing wealth of artistic imagination, and the perfection of form, a respect for one's heritage, traditional cultural values. These are the main tasks of the current generation. The history of folk crafts is a record of creative research and the discoveries of folk artists. The art of the Kazakh people, their national traits and traditions, were formed and perfected for centuries. Folk art stores in itself a historical memory and national heritage. Masters of folk art have bit by bit collected and continue to collect the experience of previous generations, multiplying them and transferring their skills from one generation to the next. When we came to see the master Aidar Moldakhanov, we had looked for him among the mountains covered with thick green grass, flowering bushes and century-old fir trees. There he finds his inspiration, and it is there that he draws his creative power. He often walks with a notepad and pencil in his hands. Contemplating nature, new images and ideas come to him, which he immediately sketches down on a piece of paper. Nothing can be compared to the greatness of the mountains of the Trans-Ili Alatau. They are famous for their beauty, and Aidar lives and works at their feet. Other craftsmen live next to him in his neighborhood, and all of them are united by creativity. No wonder the people called this place the City of Masters. They help each other in everything, and they live like a big, united family. They are engaged in their favorite business. Aidar likes to sit and look at the mountains. He thinks about their greatness beyond the control of consciousness, their strength and their variability, inconspicuous to the human eye. Probably many people like the mountains, and each in his own way. Some people like to conquer the impregnable rocks, and another person likes to admire the landscape, opening from the top, and someone dreams to reach the clouds. You want to look at this magnificence in silence, to just breathe its air and be energized. He is inspired by such fragile beauty of nature, its magic tenderness and unique colors. Another master may be inspired by the river, the source of all living things. So these are different things. It is so changeable. It can be either calm or threatening and raging. It could be quiet or rattling. It changes easily its shape and condition. The amazing plasticity and harmony of nature fascinates him, and he suggests new ideas. Aidar told us that when he looks at the world around him, he wants to create something, at least something a little bit close to this beauty. He wants to capture this beauty and to show it to other people, to leave his mark. His life was always connected with creativity. In his youth, Aidar successfully graduated from art school. He received knowledge and skills which helped him to clearly feel the picture, its proportions and color. Diligence and hard work and constant development helped him to master various techniques and trends in art. Idar is a true artisan, a skilled smith and woodcarver, forged or wooden national furniture, carved dishes and saddles or weapons. Everything can be made by his hands. The master shared with us that he was lucky in life, because after all he does what he knows and loves. Sometimes people look for their signature style for years. Style is a very extensive concept, but first of all, it's recognizability. When the characteristic features of the product are manifested in a unique technique and ideas, this is united by one design. Idar did not look for it on purpose. He just presented the world that exists inside of him. There is no wonder that they say that style is the continuation of the author himself. Creativity is one of the most mysterious processes when the birth of an image or an idea takes place. The secret is that you have to be yourself and to choose your own way. When ideas come suddenly and seldom, each one of them is like gold. The creative baggage accumulates slowly. Therefore, the imagination of the artist constantly draws images. He lives in the infinite space of non-embodied ideas and fantasies. And the best ideas always remain ahead of him. His unique style was formed due to his combination of ancient techniques and new techniques developed by him. Over the years, his craft has been perfected and improved. Take the first steps and the road will appear. With these words, he instructed his youth students, who are only at the beginning of their creative path. In his small workshop, you can see a lot of technical devices and tools, most of which he made with his own hands. Each product requires a different approach, different techniques, and he constantly reflects on which materials to use to better implement his idea, how to technically perform all the details. Each time before him there is a choice, to do it or otherwise to choose this texture or another. Which colors will be harmoniously combined in this product? Idar begins to work on his new creation always in different ways. Sometimes he works for a long time on a sketch of the future product. He adds the missing details, corrects the proportions, and sometimes he sketches the whole sketch in his head. In the world, there are not many masters who are capable of creating traditional cold steel. Craftsmanship is on the brink of extinction. Idar preserves the tradition of several generations of craftsmen, and making weapons is his favorite direction of creativity. He painstakingly studies the weapons skills of his ancestors. He reflects to the imaginative and material sources that enable him to reconstruct the armament complex of nomadic warriors. The master uses the oldest techniques. This method of production is highly appreciated by connoisseurs. According to Idar, the accumulated knowledge of the ancestors and the continuity of their experience is a necessary condition for the creation of national weapons. The military history of ancient nomadic people of Eurasia has always been full of outstanding events, great migrations, wars, and battles. For a long time, powerful nomadic empires, many warlike tribes have disappeared from the face of the earth, but the interest in the art of their weaponry is still very high. Not only strong steel, perfect form, and the sharpness of the blade glorified by the ancient Kazakh armorers, but also the patterns on the sabers, the daggers and knives, strict and intricate at the same time. The master shared with us that the main thing is to choose a high-quality metal for future weapons. This weapon will be decorative, so the decoration of the handle will take a lot of time from the master. Often the master does not use any measuring devices. He works as he feels. It is necessary to prepare the metal, and for this it must be calcined at a high temperature. The tough work is to be done with the hilt. Idar combines various techniques on a metal base, and he solders a pattern of fine wire. At first, he must carefully prepare the metal thread. The edges of the wire are flattened, and then it is rolled several times through the machine. Thereby, the master achieves the necessary width and thickness. He then grinds the edges of the workpiece to remove chipping on the metal. With the help of a special tool, the wire bends. It is given the necessary shape. The resulting element is heated by the burner to a high temperature and soldered to a metal base. So here is a thin lace of metal, beautifully entangled in the handle. To make the scabbard, the master uses an animal horn. To give it a shine and emphasize the picture, it must be well polished on a felt wheel. The combination of the metal and the horn gives the weapon refinement and beauty. Some ornaments and patterns the master draws on paper, which he then glues to the prepared metal plate and accurately cuts out the pattern with a jigsaw. The part is grinded again to the desired smoothness and gloss, and then welded to the base. He cuts the scabbard and makes it very delicate. He very meticulously adjusts one detail to another, achieving exact comparison. The blade makes the last turn, carefully forged metal and subjected to the correct hardening. The blade is first sharpened and polished. It's first passed through a rough grinding, and only then it ends. So, step by step, a weapon is born, which can be proudly presented as a gift. A lot of time and effort is expended by the master to create something special and unique. His works are presented at exhibitions, where he constantly feels the exchange of emotion, which he simply needs for his further creativity. One of their directions is the work with wood, which gives him great pleasure. The tree is an amazing, pliable, living material that feels the hands of the carver. For a master, any log or beam is a valuable material from which he can make utensils, furniture, saddles, and kamchas. Each tree has its own beauty, and the artistic level of the product largely depends on the correct choice of the breed. The ability to correctly use the material comes only with many years of practice. To work constantly requires a sharp tool, and of course special care in the work. The knife is like a natural extension of the carver's hand, an obedient executor of his designs. Not every master can make a dumbra. The art of creating a dumbra is a hard work, as Idar has told us. To create his dumbra, the master makes every effort and skill. This is what he loves to do. It is as if doing a job for the first and last time. Maybe therefore all the tools that he makes do not leave anyone indifferent. A special feature of the master is that he makes a dumbra from a single piece of wood. That's how it was done in antiquity. For many centuries, the art of making a dumbra has been living, and the master constantly strives to expand the sound possibilities, as well as the melodiousness of the instrument. From wood, he cuts out traditional dishes, in which food seems tastier. Wooden furniture, made by the hand of the master, gives the house coziness and warmth. So, year after year, Idar's craft develops and becomes more and more complicated, turning into something memorable, grandiose, and whole.